last hour that Jose Mourinho is not going to appeal against his stadium ban. It means he won't be here. Are you a bit surprised?
Maybe not. I think Jose's had any number of run-ins this year. Maybe he's just got a little bit tired of trying to argue his case. Maybe felt he wouldn't have been best served to try and argue the case in this regard. I'm not quite sure the full details of why he is banned, but obviously that may well impact negatively on the team. It might be a positive. It's a tough one to call from our point of view, whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing. You would think without his influence maybe at half-time or just prior to the game that would take something away, but I think it's always good to see Jose in the dugout opposite, and I know our crowd enjoy seeing opposition managers on occasions, and that gets them going. So we'll see whether or not it's a negative or positive, both for them and for us.
Will you be briefing the Stoke security to check all the laundry baskets?
Well, he has got a little bit of previous in this regard, so we'll have to wait and see. But no, I don't anticipate to be any problem in that regard. So we're as we were. We fully anticipate that. I'm not quite sure how close to the ground he's allowed to come, but
he's not sure himself, and that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, he says he'll go as far as he can until he's stopped. So is it your security guys' jobs to stop him?
I'm not sure. I would have thought it's up to the FA to monitor that and police that, to be perfectly honest, because who's to say that he has got a phone to his ear and he's in touch with his coaching staff? Who's going to know whether or not he has or not? I don't think he's allowed to do that either, but unless an FA official is actually sat on Jose's knee, I don't think anybody will know if he's in contact or not.
You've already knocked them out of the League Cup. There's a chance to hear more misery on Jose Mourinho, isn't there?
Well, that's not our motivating factor to obviously compound the situation people feel Jose is in. It's about us, as you would expect. We're on a decent run of form. I don't think there's only a couple of teams. I think Arsenal and Tottenham are one of only two teams that have earned as many points as us. We're in a group of teams on 11 points in the last 6 games, which current form is usually judged on, so we're not in bad shape. We know we need to improve our home form. Obviously we went some way to address that with our performance against Chelsea last time out here, so we want to continue in the same vein. We'll have to hit the same levels. We were excellent on the night and match Chelsea stride for stride, and we'll have to do the same again with the talent that they have. And you saw midweek in the Champions League that even when they're struggling somewhat towards the latter stages, when the opposition team had pegged them back, they've still got individuals who can turn the game towards them once again, and that's what happened in midweek. So you're always conscious of that and the talent that they have within their ranks, and even if you do everything right, those talented individuals can take the game away from you, and Chelsea have got more than most.
Final question on Mourinho, if that's okay. I wonder if you have some sympathy for him. You've been in a similar position yourself at a big club when you were at Manchester City. That was the close example I can think of, where high expectations and a lot of pressure. Do you have some sympathy with a similar situation he's in maybe now?
Yeah, but Jose, goodness me, I mean, the clubs that he's been at and the pressure that he's been under ever since he's come to the fore, ever since he ran up and down the track at Old Trafford. I was actually there on that occasion, so you know from that point onwards that was going to elevate his standing in the game, and from that point onwards, obviously, he's dealt with pressure everywhere he's been. He's been at top clubs with the focus dominated by the media on him and his clubs that he's been part of. So it's not something that he's going to be fazed by. He's experienced that in every club that he's been at. So I don't think it may be a different type of pressure that he's experiencing now. I don't think there's been too many occasions where maybe his league form and his position has been questioned, but most aspects of pressure, I'm sure he's experienced in the past.
We spoke to Peter Crouch earlier on this week, and I don't want to misrepresent him. He said he wants to stay, and he wants to win his place, and that's the ideal situation for him. But he did say to us that he would be open potentially to a move in January if he didn't start getting some more game time, and if it suited both parties, was the exact phrase he How concerning is that for you?
Well, it's understandable to a certain extent. We've got a big squad, and it's predominantly senior players as well. We've got a 25-man squad. All of them have got good appearance record at top level at good clubs as well, along with their time here. So when you have to obviously pick an A-team for a game, sometimes very, very good players miss out, and it's not because they've done anything wrong or they're not good enough to play in my team or squad. It's just on any given Saturday or match day, I have to pick a team which I think is going to win the game. And Peter, along with any number of players, actually been in a similar situation. What we try to be is fair and make them understand the thinking behind sometimes them not being involved. There's been very few occasions where Peter hasn't actually been on the bench. He hasn't got as much game time or starts as he would like, which a number of players could say the same thing. So they just need to be patient. We're only 10, 11 games into the season, and we know that over the course of the season things change. We had a situation before the Newcastle game, I think it was, that we only had at one stage it looked like we only had 4 fit defenders. As it was, Philip Walshide was able to take part, so we were able to put a defender on the bench. So that shows how quickly your resources can be stretched. So although I can understand individual players being upset that they're not getting game time, I still have to protect the club and the position and the team itself. So you can't allow yourself to be stretched too thin, which you can't if you start thinking you can allow people to maybe leave or go out on loan. So you have to be very, very careful. But fully understand where Pete's coming from. If he's asked an honest question, he'll give an honest answer. That's all he was doing, so I understand that.
Would you not let him go in January?
Not out of choice. I think Peter is a unique player in terms of what he offers the team, and you can understand why other teams would think they would like to add him to obviously the options that they have. But he's a big part of what we do, both in stature and what he brings to the dressing room as well. So I'd be very loath to let him leave, to be perfectly honest.
Is that the biggest challenge, or one of the biggest challenges you've got at the moment? Because this squad is awash with quality. Most Stoke fans would say it's the best squad they've had for in living memory, almost, in terms of quality and strength and depth. You can't keep everybody happy. You've got Jonathan Walters there, we've talked a lot about him in his contract. Crouch, you'd like a bit more game time. Managing those expectations and keeping a lot of big names happy is going to be tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tricky, but I think if you're honest with players and you recognise their efforts, if they're training well, even if you can't recognise it by giving them game time, you recognise it by talking to them and making them understand that it's been noted and they've got to keep it going. They've got to be patient. It's not easy. I've been playing myself when I was probably the world's worst when I wasn't playing. So I understand totally where they're coming from, but they know they're at a good club, at a good team, and they're part of a very good squad as well. So that's got value. Something that they shouldn't dismiss too quickly or too readily out of hand, which they don't. They appreciate what they've got here, but you can understand footballers wanting to play week in, week out, and sometimes you can't offer them that. But they know that this is a good club, one that we try and make them feel part of, even if we can't give them the game time that they want or feel their abilities deserve. So it is what it is at the moment, but it shows that we're a healthy club and we've got good talent within our ranks.
Bit of a contrast in the stats at the moment. It strikes me you're doing incredibly well at the back with an excellent goalkeeper behind the back four and short cross back, but struggling a little bit to put the ball in the net. It's only 9 goals. I think it's only 5 goals from open play this season. Is that a concern for you?
Well, we'd ideally like more goals on the board, but I think it's more important to get results on the board, which is, for the most part, that's what we've been able to do. We're picking up points on the road, which certainly when I first came here was a struggle for us, but we're at the moment we look strong away from home. We know our home form will improve, because it always does, because it's not an easy place to come here. So we know the games that we played at home, some of the circumstances of the game went against us, but that doesn't mean that over the course of a long season our home form won't improve. So we're quite comfortable at the moment. I mean, you win all your games 1-0, you win the league. So I mean, it's all relative. It's about getting results and points on the board, which we're doing at the moment. Obviously, in the games, we still feel we're creating chances. Probably not as many as we feel at the moment, because we've got good talent in forward areas. So we expect them to obviously produce, and they will do. But at the moment, it's important that we have that platform and that base defensively, which certainly we have at the moment. So that will enable us to obviously get points when maybe we can create or convert as many chances as we would like.
Mark, have you ever been in a situation like Jose of not being able to go to a game?
Don't recall as a manager, a few times as a player when I was suspended, but no, it doesn't happen very often. In all honesty, very few other occasions I can remember stadium bans for managers. It is what it is. I think Jose, if we're honest, has got a little bit of a gripe with the powers to be, and maybe they're coming down really hard on him at the moment. So. Is it adequate or is it appropriate for the offence? I don't know. Don't know the details of it, but he's not going to be around, so we'll get on with it.
Has there been a danger at all of that whole situation kind of overshadowing the game?
Well, there's a tendency for that to happen, to be perfectly honest. Probably that was the case after the Capital One game, where we put on a great performance, fantastic results. We were able to come through with 10 men and didn't get too much of a mention, to be perfectly honest, after the game. But I'd like to think if we put in the level of performance that we did in the Capital One Cup, then hopefully we'll get a few more mentions and dispatches.
Is that something that you can use as motivation as well?
Well, you use all the tools at your disposal, and anything that's ups the level of performance, then you're at liberty to use, and that's what we'll try and do. But we're in decent shape. We're probably a little bit frustrated, as I mentioned, with our home form, but it's another opportunity to address that. So we're looking forward to the game. It's a high-profile game. We'll play a big part in that, so we'll enjoy it.
And how are you looking squad-wise? Might Jeff Cameron be there?
Jeff's available, yeah. I think apart from Shea Given and Mark Hughes, everybody else is fit.
Mark, how serious is Mark Hughes' injury? It will be out for a while? Or?
He'll be out for a couple more weeks, I think, but it wasn't. Initially, we thought it was a really significant hamstring injury, but we've been assured that it's not as bad initially we thought. So that's good news. It's still an injury that needs time to resolve itself, and it's likely to be 2 to 3 more weeks, I would think. But it could have been a lot worse after our initial thoughts, so we're pleased about that.
Chelsea haven't lost 3 successive games in the league since 1999, so is this their form at the moment? Do you think the tide might have turned with a win in midweek, or do you think they're still under a lot of pressure in the league?
No, there's pressure surrounding them. There's noise around their situation, so they'll have to deal with that. But I have to say, Cup game, I thought they played really well. Arguably one of their better performances this season, and we had to be really strong and resolute and stick with it to stay in the game at times. When obviously when their individual talent got on the ball, then it was a big challenge for us, but we came through it. But on the day, I thought Chelsea played really, really well. They followed that up obviously with the win in the Champions League. So you would argue that maybe their current form is okay, but results haven't gone for them. So if you can get your performances right, then at some point the results will start to go for you. Hopefully not tomorrow, because we'll have something to say about that. But certainly I don't think they're in as bad a shape as people would make out.
And the confidence in your dressing room, because you beat them obviously in the cup, but obviously there was changes to that side. Whoever plays tomorrow, are they still confident they can win that?
Well, yeah, we've got the benefit of the emotions of that night, and they're still fresh in our minds, and an understanding of how hard we had to work on on the evening to get the positive result that we finally got. So all those emotions and those feelings are still fresh with us, so we can use them to our benefit, and we understand totally how hard we'll have to work to get a positive result. But we know, given the performance that we've already put in against Chelsea, we know we're capable of that, and if we're honest, we can go a little bit further as well. So we're looking forward to it, as I said.
Rob touched on the scoring opportunities. You've only had 100 attempts on goal, which is the fewest in the top flight. Is that just about your attacking players that you brought in just having time to gel, and what's the issue there, do you think, mate?
Well, it's about getting the ball in good areas. At times we've been a little bit reluctant just to put aimless balls in, or balls with a lack of opportunity to be capitalised on. I think at times we've kept possession well without putting the ball that you need to ask questions of defenders. Sometimes even when you're not aiming for any particular player in the box, you're just hitting balls into areas to try and force errors, and we've been a little bit reluctant to maybe ask questions of back fours and keepers by just putting balls into areas and looking for unforced errors. So maybe that's part of what we've looked at, and we can improve in that aspect of our game, certainly. So hopefully there'll be an improvement in that regard.
Just one more question. The international break comes again after this game. Is this a good or bad time for you in your life?
No, I think we're playing okay. Like I said, our current form's good. Not many teams have picked up as many points as we have, so we're in decent shape. As always, the last game before an international break, you want a positive result. Hopefully we can get that, and then that'll put us in good heart and good frame of mind when everybody comes back.
Mark, you've taken a lot of questions obviously about Chelsea and Jose Mourinho, but I suppose for your players and for you, it's all about focusing on getting a result. What happens to Chelsea and Jose is not the important thing, is it, for you?
No, that's not our priority. We can affect what happens to ourselves, and obviously that might impact on Chelsea and what they want to do. But it's about obviously trying to impose what we want to do on the day on Chelsea, and not vice versa. So it's about being really resolute, making sure we understand what we're trying to achieve in the game. If we do that, then we know we can go close against Chelsea and overcome them. But they're a good side. A lot of criticism getting fired at them as a team, and their manager obviously at the head of that. So I've said before, most top players and managers react to situations like that, and certainly Chelsea in a situation where they expect to react in the appropriate manner. So at some point, I'm sure their season will start to turn around. What we have to do is make sure it doesn't start tomorrow evening.
Is that part of being a Premier League manager as well? There's extra pressures, the outside factors with the media and everything. You kind of have to make sure it's about the game and purely the game on Saturday. Yeah,
I mean, once the game starts, I mean that's when our focus really narrows, and that's when we go to work in earnest, and that's how it has to be. In this day and age, the Premier League is huge. It's of interest to millions of people around the world, and you have to accept that there'll be a demand for content from you guys and many other platforms that people use. So it's part and parcel of being a manager and being part of the Premier League, which is great.
It's funny on the game though, of course, you don't forget they were the champions last year, so they don't become a bad side overnight.
No, we certainly don't think they've become a bad side. As always, they might be searching for their top form, but that could be said for a lot of clubs. It's just that given their standing in the Premier League and their success over the last few years, their struggles, if that's the right word, come into focus a little bit more readily than others. So they deal with that in their own way.
Mark, in the recent weeks you've talked to us about injury worries and fitness problems, but with Ryan Shawcross coming through and the game against Chelsea, do you feel that your problems in this area are over now? You're firing on all cylinders?
Well, we like to think so. I mean, Ryan was concerned, obviously, when he was out. We've been able to bring him back in the fold, and he's, in credit to him, he's played 2 games. Not only does he look physically more than capable, I think his form is very, very good. considering the length of time that he's been out. So we're really pleased with that, and given his leadership qualities that he has and shows on a daily basis, and has done even when he's been unable to play. I'm really pleased that now he's able to show those leadership qualities on the field of play as well as off. So in terms of Ryan's situation, that's resolved as well as we could have hoped. It was a serious injury, but he's come through it, thankfully. And the health of the squad is good at the moment. As I said, it's only Shea and Mark Munies at the moment that are unavailable, so that shows good credit to the players themselves in terms of their application to training and what they need to do to make sure they're fit and well leading into games, and their recovery after games as well. And the great job the medical guys do at our club, who are absolutely top notch and first class at what they do.
Thanks, folks.
Okay.